Hey everyone, Dr. Frunkey here with a great new knife consult video. I want to go ahead and thank Adam Purvis for lending me this. He goes by @apurvisblades on Instagram. He's a part-time custom knife maker, full-time firefighter, and an overall great guy, very interested in knives and the knife community, so thank you for letting me borrow this. In front of us, we've got the We Knives 703. It came in this box. Just go ahead and give you a preview of what we're going to see. But I want you to keep in mind one number, and that number is 100. This knife costs $100. Okay, and so we're going to go ahead and start showing you what comes with this knife. So immediately, it comes in that box, and it comes in this nice carrying case. You open up the case and you can see that you've got a nice soft liner here. You've got pockets on both sides with that lining going on there. Of course you have the knife. I'm going to set that aside for just a second here. Comes wrapped up in a pack. It comes with its own cleaning cloth. Really nice little case here. That's an element that not a lot of companies include, and they don't include certainly at the $100 price point. You'll be lucky if you just get a cardboard box with a little plastic sheath from some of these folks. So here's the knife itself. Really, really impressive. Again, keep in mind the $100 price point here. We've got a D2 steel blade, liner lock flipper with G10 handles. So let's go ahead and break the knife down anatomically. We've got an overall length of 4 inches on this blade of D2 steel with a cutting edge of 3.75 inches. It's a hollow ground blade, so it comes very, very thin behind the edge. It's a high hollow up here. It's a very nice slicer. It's got a nice flat part. It's got a nice amount of belly. It's got a nice sharp reinforced tip. That swedge up top allows for some of the blade to be cut away, reduces some weight, and it does improve the piercing profile of the blade there. You've got a nice set of satin flats going on there. Very, very, very pretty there. A perfectly done satin finish. Over here, you've got a little We Knives design element there. It kind of reminds me of the logo over here with the 3 lines in the vertical and horizontal planes. This one is a bit diagonal, obviously, but it does incorporate into the jimping up top. It's a nice little design element there, and it carries through with that black finish. This one is done in an acid stone wash. While it's not necessarily my favorite finish, it's a really, really nice looking finish, and I think it will hide wear pretty well. If you're not going to be hard using it, they do offer it, I believe, and maybe it's a plain satin finish or a stone wash finish that might be a bit more user-friendly. In any case, it's a really, really nice design element with regards to the overall look of this particular knife. I love the black on black appearance. Very, very nicely done. The blade has a nice sharpening choil. The blade edge is not really carried perfectly all the way back to that choil, so that's okay, but it's, it could be a little bit better. If you do like to sharpen your own knives, that's a little area that you might be able to improve. But the edge did come very sharp from the factory, and D2 steel is a tried and true blade steel. It does keep an edge very well, and it's very easy to sharpen. It's not a truly stainless steel, so you'll have to maintain it, throw some oil on it when you first get it. And that's, it's a nice blade. I think it's a very, very functional blade. It's not a recurve, so it's going to be easier to sharpen. And at $100, this is a very effective blade. I really like it. It's just very useful. It does have a flipper tab that's a nice low profile, small yet functional flipper tab. And the action is amazing. To be honest, I don't know that I have felt many knives that have this good of an action at multi-$100 price points. And just look how it drops shut. So we should talk about then the pivot mechanism. So We Knives have really been improving their action. They have a ball bearing pivot system. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think those are ceramic ball bearings in there. They just have the kind of one style going on. They may be stainless steel, but it's just a very smooth action. And look how it falls shut. At $100, I have never seen a knife that's that smooth. I had a $285 We Knife 605, and it wasn't anywhere close to this smooth. They've really gotten better with their action overall. I could flip this thing all day. I'm just truly impressed with the smoothness of that action. I could do without the We Knives logo right here, but I will appreciate that it's at least smaller than it used to be. They still have their proprietary screws, but at least they include the tool over here so that if you want to disassemble it, you can do that. Go over and watch Nick Shabazz's video on the 605 disassembly. He particularly hates this stuff. My experience is that these things are a little bit tough to get out. You do have to kind of learn how to use that little tool effectively. But, you know, it does work well, and these pieces of hardware are not weak. They're not going to break on you unless you're just being negligent with your technique. Moving back to the handles here, I'm really impressed with the G10 finish. You've got a 3D contoured G10 handle scale going on here. It's got a really nice texture. It reminds me a bit of a wood grain. It even kind of looks like that a little bit, but it's got a nice texture to it. It's not super grippy, but it's got a little bit of texture for the grip. This knife is really not going to fall into a tactical carry. This is going to be a gentleman's everyday carry style knife. This would work well as an outdoors knife as well. You know, you could really use this in a hiking capacity. Really nice overall function and sort of a no frills type of an attitude going on with this knife. It is a liner lock. It's got a blackened liner going on there, nice steel liner going in. It does keep the overall weight maybe a little bit higher than if it were titanium, but the overall weight is really not that bad. Let's bust out the scale here and see what it says we're working with. So overall, we've got 4.88 ounces. So really not all that heavy. It falls right into that nice little 4.5 to 5 ounce category that I personally like. It would be lighter if it was titanium, but it isn't. That's fine. We've got a backspacer going on here. This may be aluminum. I'm not entirely sure what this is made out of. I don't think it's steel. And this, it may be even titanium. This may be titanium and this may be titanium. I want to say that it is. Correct me if I'm wrong. You've got a nice functional pocket clip. It's got a nice gap between the body and the clip, so you can put this onto any type of pant or in a bag or at your waistline. The clip is super easy to use. It's got a nice amount of tension. It's easy to get in and out of the pocket or at the waistline like I like to carry them. It's got a lanyard hole back here that for those who like to have that. The backspacer is geared for a little bit of traction in your hand. And the overall design is very ergonomic. I have a larger hand, a size 8 sterile glove, and it does fit in my hand really nicely. You're not really able to choke up on the blade, but that's okay. It's not designed for that. You don't need it. The jimping works really well. The flipper tab works as a nice forward finger guard there. The jimping does not really provide a very bad hot spot here on the liner there. It is a little bit raised on that side, so you can manipulate it very easily and get it closed. After opening and closing it all day, as with most knives that have jimping on the lock bar, that can become a little bit uncomfortable, but it's not as bad as other knives that I've experienced. I think that the overall impression that I have of this knife is just very positive. At $100, I don't know of many knives that really pack this kind of quality and also functionality. I would challenge you to find a Spyderco knife at $100 that has this size and this quality. I'm a huge Spyderco fan. I'm going to go ahead and bring out the Para 3 for comparison. This is a $120 knife. It's got S30V, which is more stainless. It's got G10 handles with stainless steel liners, so very similar overall. But at $100, this has 3D milled. It has a different blade finish on it. We're going to look at that. It's got a hollow grind. You know, I like the full flat grind on the Spyderco here. It's got this interesting hardware element going on. It's got the milled pocket clip. This is an aftermarket clip that cost me another $25. The lanyard tube is not intrusive as it is on here. You know, I'm not saying that this is better than a Spyderco. I'm just saying that it's interesting and amazing to me to see what's coming out of China right now. And American manufacturers may need to think about stepping their game up in some elements in order to keep up. Now, the action on this is phenomenal. Obviously, this is on washers, so can't complain there. I just think it's an interesting look into what We Knives is doing. We Knives introduced 20 models last year. They're going to have more this year, and this budget line is something to pay attention to. This is great value for the money. I want to say thank you to Adam Purvis for letting me borrow this. Go check me out on Instagram at Dr. Frunkey. Click like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, this is Dr. Frunkey saying take care.